Have you ever asked yourself whether a bank account is the best place for all of your cash? Maybe you've been tempted by the high returns of the stock market as of late, or perhaps you have a high tolerance for risk and the world of cryptocurrencies seems appealing to you. Whatever your investment or saving strategy may be, thinking critically about how much cash you should hold is a key consideration which shouldn't be overlooked. How's it going, everyone? My name is Dan, but you can call me Malone, and today we are going to be talking about cash management. The way in which you manage your cash on a daily, weekly, monthly, or yearly basis is central to any successful investment or saving strategy. Failing to effectively consider or manage the amount of cash that you hold can lead to undesirable returns on investment or poor liquidity scenarios down the road. So in this video, I will be talking about what cash management is, the reasons to hold cash in the first place, and some alternatives to cash for you to consider. But before we begin, if I could please ask you to leave a like on the video and consider subscribing to the channel. It really does help me out and it pushes the video to bigger audiences. So without further ado, let's get started. So to begin, we're going to talk about what exactly cash management is. When you hear someone say cash management, it sounds like a very broad and wide-reaching statement that could really mean anything at all. However, when you hear someone talk about cash management, what you really should be thinking about is the balance between both profitability and liquidity. So what exactly do I mean when I talk about profitability and liquidity in relation to cash management? Well, let's first consider profitability in the context of cash management. When we talk about profitability, we're really talking about maximizing the overall profit and maximizing our overall return in relation to the cash that we hold. In a max profitability scenario in relation to our cash, we would be confident in saying that all of our cash is working effectively for us in order to generate the maximum potential return that we can earn. Really, what you don't want is lots and lots of your cash tied up in a current account that is earning very little interest for you. While I understand that the general consensus is that bank accounts are a safe place for your money, and historically our parents would have liked to keep a lot of their money in the bank, the reality is if you are keeping the majority of your funds in a current account, you really aren't maximizing that profitability objective of cash management. Liquidity in the context of cash management, on the other hand, has to do with our ability to meet our day-to-day, weekly or monthly obligations as they fall due using the cash that we have on hand. To put that into simple terms, that's effectively our ability to meet our bills, our rental payments, and to provide for ourselves on a day-to-day basis, buying drinks, clothes, food, whatever it may be. So therefore, when we talk about cash management, we're really talking about getting that balance right between profitability and liquidity. However, there is an inherent trade-off between these two concepts. The reason for this is because you can't possibly maximize your total profitability unless you are investing all of the cash that you hold. But in doing so, you wouldn't achieve the objective of liquidity because you wouldn't be able to settle your bills, rents as they fall due, because all of your cash will be tied up in investments. So therefore, it isn't really possible for any of us to achieve total efficiency when it comes to any one given objective, but rather a successful cash management strategy will perfectly balance or seek to perfectly balance both profitability and liquidity. So what are the reasons to hold cash in the first place? Well, unfortunately, the answer to that question varies greatly from person to person, but by discussing the reasons for holding cash in the first place, we can get you closer to an idea of understanding how much cash you will be required to hold in your bank account so that you are achieving that liquidity objective, and how much cash will be available for reinvestment so that you're achieving that profitability objective. So the reasons for holding cash can be broken into three key concepts. I'll discuss each of these concepts individually, and hopefully they should give you a general idea of why you should be holding cash in the first place in your bank account. Some of these might be straightforward or obvious, but even thinking about your cash in this way will help you to become better at managing your own personal cash holdings. The three reasons for holding cash are as follows. transactions demand, precautionary demand, and speculative demand. Let's start off with transactions demand. Transactions demand really represents the cash required to meet your day-to-day transactions. This covers everything from the food and drink that you buy, to your rental expenses, to your light and heat expenses, to the interest payments on loans, etc, etc. And really the best way to get an idea of the transactions demand with respect to cash in relation to your own personal circumstances is to create a self-budget. Creating a budget for yourself really is the best way to get an idea of the cash that you spend on a day-to-day basis, and it can be achieved by simply going to your online bank, looking at your bank statements from the last year, and creating a month-by-month playback of the expenses that you incurred. It will allow you to identify those expenses which are likely to continue into the future, and therefore you require to hold cash in order to meet those expenses, but it will hopefully also identify some areas of expenditure that you can cut back on and save up some cash for reinvestment. One of the best things that you can do to aid your own personal cash management situation is to start cutting back on expenses that aren't really necessary to your day-to-day life. For example, if you're someone who buys coffees a lot, gets takeout food a lot, or buys a lot of clothing on a regular basis, you might want to consider cutting back on some of this expenditure. Remember, spending cash on items that you don't need is a surefire way to achieve 0% return, so do try to avoid that as much as possible and free up as much of that cash for reinvestment as possible. The second reason to hold cash is known as precautionary demand. Precautionary demand represents the unexpected need for cash that most of us at some point in our lives will experience. Another common name for precautionary demand is the rainy day fund. Effectively, this is the cash that we put away in the event of something happening in the future. And unfortunately, we are not psychics. We do not know what the future will hold for us. So therefore, it makes sense to hold a certain portion of cash in our bank accounts for that rainy day. And generally speaking, you alone will probably have the best idea of how much precautionary cash you want to have in your bank account so that you can sleep well at night. The one thing I will say about precautionary demand is that it's important that you aren't too risk averse. So with respect to precautionary demand and that rainy day fund, it really is just about understanding your own personal risk tolerance with regards to how much cash you need to have in that bank account and ensuring that you aren't being overly cautious with your cash. The third reason to hold cash is known as speculative demand. Speculative demand represents cash held in order to take advantage of unexpected opportunities. Similar enough to precautionary demand, speculative demand can be difficult to conceptualize and to quantify into an actual cash amount. But general examples of what you should be thinking about when you hear speculative demand are things like a potential business opportunity that has arisen, maybe a new college course that you really want to enroll in and need the cash now to do so, or maybe a really great opportunity to travel and work abroad that you didn't previously foresee. Again, you alone will probably have the best idea of how much money you need to cover yourself with regards to speculative demand. Remember, it's all about balancing both profitability and liquidity, and having too much weighted on either side generally leads to less favorable results. So again, by considering transactions demand, precautionary demand, and speculative demand, you'll really be able to get an idea of how much of that cash sitting in your current account is needed and how much should potentially be considered for reinvestment. This is just one of the ways that you can start reframing your thought process when it comes to cash and cash management. So now that we've discussed the reasons to hold cash, and hopefully we've arrived at the optimal amount of cash to hold in our bank accounts with respect to the liquidity objective, we can now look at reinvesting the remaining cash balance that we have in our bank accounts into marketable securities. Before I go into any detail with regards to the alternatives to cash, there are three important considerations when it comes to investing your money in marketable securities as an alternative to holding them in your bank account. The three primary considerations with respect to investing in these alternatives are default risk, marketability, and maturity. When looking at default risk, we're really asking ourselves the question, will I get my money back on this investment? Generally speaking, if you are looking to maximize that profitability objective for cash management, default risk will depend on what risk tolerance you have. I personally prefer researching and investing in historically safe and slow growth investment opportunities, and this ultimately lowers the default risk associated with my own personal investments. But again, your investment strategy will depend on your own individual research, your experience, and what your risk tolerance is. The consideration of marketability relates to the ease at which your investment can be converted to readily available cash. Again, if you are investing in standard equities, standard index funds, bonds, etc., nothing too exotic, then the marketability concept shouldn't be too much of an issue for you, because there generally is a readily available market to which you can sell on your investments and convert it into cash. And finally, the maturity concept is all about asking yourself for exactly how long will your cash be tied up for. Again, so long as you're investing in relatively standard alternatives, this shouldn't be too much of an issue, because as I said, there should be a relatively available market for you to sell onto and exchange that money into cash, so that your money won't be tied up in these assets for any longer than you intend them to be. So what sort of alternatives to cash should you be considering? Honestly, the list of potential alternatives to cash is very extensive, and each one requires you doing your own personal research to determine whether or not that alternative is suitable to you. For the vast majority of people who are looking to invest in an alternative to cash, the best possible option is going to be a low cost index fund such as the Vanguard S&P 500. I personally invest in this index fund, and it really is a great way to capture the returns of the overall market. And if you don't know what an index fund like the S&P 500 is, it's effectively a means by which you can capture a portion of the market using one individual investment. So for example, by buying one share in the Vanguard S&P 500, you are effectively buying a piece of each company included in that index fund. By considering a relatively simple hypothetical situation whereby an individual keeps the vast majority of their cash in a current bank account, we can really see the impact that this has on profitability. Say you have a bank balance of 20,000 euros, all of which is kept in your current account. 20,000 euros kept on deposit in a current account would typically yield an annual interest rate of about 0.01% or €2 before tax. If we then contrast this with the average annual return of the S&P 500, which is about 8%, investing half of this bank account or 10,000 euro would yield about €800 per annum. So that clearly is a very big difference in both return and profitability with respects to keeping your cash on deposit in a current account versus investing a portion in it in alternatives to cash. And that really is why cash management is so important to consider, because again, it's all about balancing both profitability and liquidity. You want to get the most out of your money that you possibly can. So hopefully here at the end of the video, you have improved your overall knowledge of what cash management entails. As I mentioned before, cash management really is important with respect to any successful investment or saving strategy. And so the earlier you start thinking about cash management in the context of what we've discussed today, the better. So I really do hope you enjoyed the video today and took something away from it. If you did enjoy the video, please do let me know in the comments below. Leave a like in the video and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.